requested that I go back to playing the Stanley Parable. So that's what I'm doing, as you can tell.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And I still do remember most of the things that
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he
already.
couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I remember the majority of what this guy says on all the parts that I've already experienced.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I did get some tips though. Somebody told me that, well, I won't spoil it actually, I'll just do it and see what happens. Do what the person suggested, and hopefully that person was referencing something that actually happens.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
which
doors,
one.
he entered the door on his left.
Alright, left. Let's do it. So I'm going all the way to my office first.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright, he said walk to the boss's office. The bathroom. I can't go in the bathroom. I think I can't go in. Nope. Alright.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, there's a security camera over there. Yeah, it's not letting me do that. Alright, I don't think there's anything over there. This leads... I'm gonna begin it again. That didn't give me anything new. And I'm after new things.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
And
Perhaps he
I
had simply
know
missed a memo.
one of the places to go here. Once I get to the stairs, I'll be able to do that.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah, someone was telling me to go to the boss's office and then backtrack back to my office.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
But I'll
Feeling a wave of disbelief,
be able
Stanley
to do
decided
that,
to go up
'cause
to
the,
his boss's
door's
office.
close by.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
There. Can't use the fire hose. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. No, that's the... Once you go in there, I think it ends the game. That's not where I wanted to go either. Oh, crap. I think I just screwed myself out of going to the ending that I wanted to go to. Because I did discover a new one the last time that I played, but once again, I went the wrong direction.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Of course. Just to
Yes,
admire it.
truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Here is where I think. Well, actually, what does this lead to? This is.
Stanley
Oh yeah,
was
this
so
is the
bad at
place I
following
haven't been
directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Yeah. See, we have not been in here in any of the previous episodes. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift. Penalty for jumping off. I do believe that you can die here.
Look, Stanley,
That's
I
what we're
think
gonna try
perhaps
to
we've
do.
gotten off on the wrong foot. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley.
Nice.
Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Alright, wait, what? This is different now. This is not the same. What the heck?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door, and this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Well, yeah. There's just a shortcut, I guess.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
If you're wondering what the hell's going on, you should probably watch the first episodes of this, because otherwise, this isn't going to make any sense.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Alright.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
I want to go in that door, though.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really?
Yeah.
I was in the middle of something.
I
Do you
made
have
it.
zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
I'm glad that
Why,
didn't kill me.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Danger everywhere.
Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
What's he got to do? 2v1. Oh yeah, there's definitely a different area than we've ever explored in the past. Blue and red, huh?
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Let's go through the blue then. Oh wait, he's trying to trick me, isn't he? I don't know.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
That's awesome. Nope, still going through the blue.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead,
God, I love
Stanley.
this game.
You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Holy crap.
You see?
There's a lot of extra
There's nothing
space in
here.
this officer.
I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
That
Do
certainly
you not
was.
think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Oh boy, he's about to.
There we go. A third option. This already feels
Awesome.
leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
But wait. Alright, let's do it.
Okay, I'm going to stop
Rate
you
my
there.
experience.
Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices?
Yes.
Feel free to be honest.
Most
I'm looking
certainly
for
did.
some real critical feedback here.
He's not even letting me press the big red button.
Aha!
Oh, there we go.
You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Hey, awesome. First. Wait, how do you get a rating? Whoa, 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 whoa. Only the worst 3% of the players. Just a blue door. How long does it take you to get the correct door? What? 9,000. Yeah, right. I'm sure. Just told me I have no friends. That's not very nice. Alright, let's go through the red door again. Let's read it. Oh,
Now,
there's no.
would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Did it help me feel motivated? I don't know. I'm gonna say yes.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Awesome.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
I'm gonna be able to play new games. Sweet. Within the Stanley. Oh, it's a baby.
The baby crawls left towards
What the
danger.
hell?
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it
That's
for
horrible.
4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Oh god. Okay, so yeah, you just. That sound's not gonna be good for ASMR. I wonder if you can actually do this for 4 hours. Like, what happens? If anything. It's not a good ASMR sound at all. Please forgive me for that. I know you will. Alright, he's going into the fire. No, he's not. Alright, this time. No. Stupid baby. Alright, go into the fire, baby. He's not gonna be.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
Because I hate
Because if it's
babies.
the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't
I really
think
do
of
hate
a
kids.
single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was
Just turn
extremely
off the
valuable.
lights. Nice.
Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see.
Bioshock.
Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Oh, he's gonna make me play another game in the game. Okay, gameception. Got it. Oh my god, no
Well,
way.
Stanley, is this any better?
No freaking
At last,
way.
the one
Are you
thing
kidding?
I've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough?
Oh my
Tell
god.
me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough?
Alright, so we
Well,
still
I'll say
need to kill
this,
some
I'm done making things for you.
And
From
we're
now
meant to get
on,
those
I will
epic
only create
pearls.
to
Let's go
fulfill a
get that.
greater artistic
Let's go do it.
purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I
No,
am
I like
going
this
to
game.
build a
I like
house.
this game. Are you really? Where is he?
This will go here. No, here. And then...
Oh. Oh, he's building a dirt house. What a noob.
Let's see,
That's
what
my
does
dog.
it need? Iron.
Just
Yes,
ignore it.
of course. And just to finish it all off...
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, I wanted to go
It's
inside. Damn it.
complete. I
so
made this,
close.
Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only
You should see my Minecraft house. It's so good.
The experience. Please step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Oh yes. It's
Isn't
there.
it
It goes.
grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if.
It's
Wait,
amazing.
That's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond.
Oh yes.
Diamond everything.
Do
Yes,
it.
yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
Oh sweet. Oh my God. This is amazing. How did they not get sued for doing this? I don't know. Right. I know there's gonna be a creeper down here.
Oh my. It looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
It is ASMR, so I'm telling you, be careful. There will be a creeper down here, I'm pretty sure. I'm warning you right now. Don't be startled.
Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear.
No, let's go.
Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
No, I liked that. Wanted to mine some time, I think. What game are we gonna play now? Stanley Parable. Oh no, wait. It's Fallout, isn't it?
Yes!
Oh, it's
I don't
Portal.
even know what this game is, but I love it. You
I just
trapped in a
picked up.
glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out.
I want to read it.
Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Formal test sequence. Do I actually get a portal gun? That would be amazing. Oh. That's not how you get out of that room, you're lying.
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Alright, let's go. Oh, companion cube. No, that's not. That's a normal cube. I'm sorry.
Genius. No, actually, you
Oh.
know, I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly
Oh,
doubt
I'm
you're
jumping.
any wiser.
I'm jumping. I escaped him. Escaped. Can I fall? Oh, yeah. Wonder what the heck is gonna happen now. You're snoring. My cat's on my bed snoring really loud right now. I don't know what game this is emulating, but it doesn't look like a nice game. It looks like a horror game or something. Speaking of horror games, I tried to record Amnesia, the new one, a bunch of times, and I couldn't get it to work. The video and the sound, they never matched up, even though they were the same lengths, like the video length and the sound length. I don't know what was going on with that. Alright, let's go towards the light. Can I go in here? Nope. This looks very creepy. 427. That's mine, isn't it? My office number. Can I even do anything in here? I've escaped the story. I don't think I can do anything in here. Seems like no. Alright, let's go back then. Wait a second. What?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
Alrighty.
I can wait.
Creepy. Oh, there we go. Oh, I was really liking that level or whatever. God dang it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, this time we'll go.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to
This
the
time
meeting
we'll
room,
go right
and
across
Stanley
that
knew it
platform.
perfectly well. Perhaps he
The
wanted to
original
stop
way
by
that
the
he wanted
employee
us to
lounge
go.
first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alrighty, down here.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Here we go.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I guess there's no way
I'm
to
not
get
your
down there
enemy,
safely.
really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Is that right?
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
What the heck is this guy
This
talking
is it,
about?
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Is it gonna be the girl from Portal? That machine thing?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Let's do it.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Nice lamp.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
That wasn't creepy at all.
Come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Fine. Let's go over here. Oh man, I have to. My wife is hot.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Press 8.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow.
I pressed it.
He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
What if I don't do it though? Will it progress anything? Will anything happen? Let's press F. Let's press 8 again. Nope.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
He's making
Now
my
he's
desk.
pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his
hard to see
mind he can
keys
go
in
on
the dark.
fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work, was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press I to watch TV. Alright.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
What boy?
So, he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head, he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How
She
could there
disappeared when I told her I
In
love her.
reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world, he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
I'm totally doing it. I'm not gonna do it actually. I'm starting to get bored though. Now that I haven't pressed anything. Am I gonna get fired? What's the button to get fired? What's the button to get drunk instead of going to work? That's the button I want to press right now at least. If I was Stanley. Alright, let's do it.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Okay, to question nothing.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please die.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
That was a little messed up. Did I just die? I guess so. Start over, doesn't it? Yep.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Alright, is the rest of the dialogue gonna change too?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I wonder if anything will change about the store this time.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time, but eager to get back to business,
Let's go back
Stanley
to
took the
another thing.
first
I
open
wonder
door on
if
his
it'll
left.
do the game thing again, or if it does,
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglected. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Let's go through the red one this time.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. You see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley?
It's not going anywhere.
I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution.
Let's go backwards.
Here, let me show you.
Alright.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
That's really cool. I like that. I wonder if I can jump off. Oh, it's not gonna let me jump off. Alright. Oh, wow. I was changing. That's nice. That's cool. Wonder if it's gonna do anything else though. We've had enough of the light show, I think. Let's try
No,
here.
wait.
Oh, wow.
Where are you going?
Where am I going?
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Why would I die?
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Oh, that's why I would die. He's not gonna let me die. Not this time.
No!
See?
Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
He's not gonna let me die. It's not gonna happen.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? You throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Yes.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
Yes.
It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Alright, I have a feeling I'm gonna die this time. Yep.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Alright, let's do it again. Same thing.
Just just a step through
Except
this
I
door,
won't kill
Stanley
myself.
thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Is that right? Can I open this yet? No.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
Go
knew
right
it
back to
perfectly
where we
well.
were.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach. That was different. I should have stayed. Dang it.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I wonder if
I'm not your enemy, really.
jump on that truck, I won't
I
die.
realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh, the red door's not open. There it is.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley?
Let's go wait for this to open.
I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think, well, I think I have a solution.
Might as well roll around in
Here,
circles.
let
There's
me
nothing
show
else to
you.
do. There we go. Oh, loaded. Oh, I did that last time too, actually.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
Alright, this room again.
Here. Yes.
I've already done
It's
this.
beautiful, isn't it? If we just... No, wait. Where are you going?
This time I'll only jump once and
Oh,
then
no.
we'll walk back.
Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
I think it was actually after the second time that I jumped.
Oh, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Alright, after this one I'll walk back out the door.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
There we go.
Can you do that for me? Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you
the
finally
same
see what I'm
thing.
talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Is that all that's gonna happen? I figured there would be something different that would happen if I went through that door.
No, perhaps not.
Let's do it again.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll
That's the
throw
same
yourself
thing you
from this
said the other
platform
time.
over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Maybe you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me? I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
I don't think he's gonna say anything different, but those red lights are different, so that's nice. Alright, back into this room. After this, I guess we can try the blue door again to see if something different will happen if I do the choices differently somehow. I don't know. Maybe by rating the
slippery start, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes the things you find in this
All
game
of his
are really
co-workers
cool.
had gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
And other times they're not. Keeps you guessing, definitely. Oh, I thought there weren't going to be any
When
doors.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct
See
way
if we
to the
can get
meeting
the
room,
butterflies
and Stanley
thing
knew
again.
it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic, but eager to get back
Perhaps
to
too
business.
majestic.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
I don't have a key card. Reminds me of James
Look,
Bond.
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
GoldenEye.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Door.
Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley
wanna sit
walked
down.
through the red door.
No, he did not.
Aha, perhaps you
This
misunderstood.
again.
Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
I wonder
All
if
right, fine, go
I
ahead,
something
Stanley.
different would
You want to
happen
know
if I
so
found
badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Oh, we gotta go through all
You
this
see?
again.
There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had
'cause you
written
haven't
out
changed it yet.
specifically for you?
Oh,
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles?
Minecraft.
Skill trees? Work
More
with me. You've
Minecraft.
given me absolutely nothing so far.
I wanna throw
Tell you
baby
what,
into the fire.
Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
That's the
There
best
we
game
go.
ever.
A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead,
Ceiling
Stanley.
light.
Take it for a spin.
Which one did I do? Which one did I do? I don't know. Does this take me back to the original story or somewhere different? It's somewhere. No.
Okay, I'm
Still
going to
led
stop
me to
you
the same
there.
place.
Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1?
One.
I mean, I can understand if you had reservations. You saw ways the
Definitely a
game
1.
could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version.
Oh,
To be
God.
perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The hell? Oh, yeah, this is the same thing. That led to the same place as the last one. I'm guessing they all do, yep.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers,
Oh my
please.
God, let me press it.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to
I
give it
guess
some
doesn't
playtesting.
matter which one
You wouldn't mind
pick.
taking a look at it, would you?
looks
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
The baby killer game. Yep.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game.
I'm not even
All about
gonna
the
try to press
desperation and
this time.
tedium of endlessly confronting the demands
Look
of
at that cute
family
baby.
life. I I think the Antworld will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I'm not gonna press it once.
You heartless bastard.
I love
Did
that
you
way.
do it because you hate babies or
Love that
purely to
sound it
spite
makes,
me?
like,
Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely
this is the
valuable.
exact same stuff
Oh,
that
hey,
happened
since my
last
game
time.
was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain.
Sounds
Let's
good to
see.
me.
What do we have here?
I'm very much willing to look at this stuff again. Minecraft.
Yes.
Minecraft.
This seems
Minecraft.
like it'll work.
Minecraft.
Let's give it a shot.
Come on. Come on. Same thing. Yes.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Alright, is this where I built it? Yep. Those are
This
stupid
will go
turtles.
here, no, here, and then. Let's see,
Can go
what
in
does it mean?
before he makes the door.
Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off.
Oh,
Yes,
doesn't let you go in before he tells you.
complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only
See, I'm
gotten half
guessing
the
nothing new
experience.
is gonna
Please,
happen.
step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Sounds good to
Isn't
me.
it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along,
Diamond
Stanley.
everything.
We have to go mining.
Nope, I want to go back in my house and just sit here. Let's see if he might say something if I just sit in my house for long enough. Like in a broom. Do I hear music? That's not Minecraft music at all. Where the heck is that music coming from? Oh. Alright, let's just go follow wherever he tells us to go now. It's the only thing we can do, I think. Unless... No, it's not gonna let me go over there. But
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. You brought a light?
nope. You did not give me a light. Minecraft is a lot darker than this.
Oh,
When you're in a cavern.
no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds
1 out
couldn't
of
show
5.
this one. Okay, new game.
Yep. Let's play some Portal again. This time I'll try not to kill myself so quickly.
Yes!
other part.
I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You
God dang it.
trapped in a glass box with no way out. This
Hey, when I
multi-meat
sneeze, I'm
turtle, it's
recording.
inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure
Oh,
it out.
sweet. It's a floating
Okay,
coffee
now
cup.
I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Oh, I'm taking the damn radio. Yep, let's take it. I like the music. Use this to block the door from closing. Oh,
It's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. You're
apparently it doesn't work. Oh. radio in there.
No, actually, you know
Oh.
what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much
still
to see
kinda
you
put it
stumble
in there.
through
Oh,
any
where'd it
of
go?
those games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity.
I can still hear the radio.
I don't need your
It's up
advice.
there, I guess.
I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man whose job is to push buttons.
This textures don't
think
match
I'll
up.
just go about my business,
One.
making meaningful
Another one.
cultural contributions to the
Guess
world.
that.
And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work, and I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Did he really leave me now? Alright, I'm jumping down then. I don't feel like sitting around waiting for him to say something. I feel bad about leaving my radio though. That's a cool radio. I liked it a lot. Alright, so is there anywhere to actually go up here? Or do you just walk around until you feel like jumping off? Filing cabinets, oh boy. Looks like I'm gonna be jumping off here. Yup. And that took me to the same place. Let's see if there's anything to do in these rooms. Let's explore this whole area. I don't want to go over there yet. Not before. I've already been to the light place. Part with the light. See if there's. No, I think I might have been all these places already. Hey, wait, this looks different. But it leads to nowhere. So. Yeah. What about this? Is this where it started? So, looks like these all lead to the same place in the end. Yeah, that's my conclusion. So, given that knowledge, let's walk towards the light. It looks like there's nothing new to discover here in the first place. If I'm missing any ways to go, I will not know about it unless somebody tells me. Alright, so you come in here and then you walk out and that should end the sequence. Yep.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it, down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice. He's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Yeah. Just reload already. I have heard all of this already. Alrighty, so
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.